Hey guys, Neo here, and today I'm back with a big milestone. I just hit 25,000 subscribers as of yesterday evening at around 9 o'clock Eastern Time. So first off, before I even just start this video, I just want to say, for all of you guys over the last 6 months who have turned my life completely differently, just thank you. Thank you for the opportunity that I've received so far with YouTube. I'm going to definitely keep up the work, keep uploading. I will definitely keep up all the uploads. You'll always see 2 to 3 videos a week, potentially more or less depending on how time goes, to the best of my ability, but again, we'll see. So, one more thing. Thank you to the opportunity I've received to work with Sunday on map development, or not map development, helping him with his redstone needs. It's a huge opportunity as well, and I very much appreciate it, and I couldn't have done this without his help too. So, and to all of you guys for helping get me to 20,000 subscribers, thank you from, my emotional heart that I'm not really sure I have in here. Oh well. This is my story. This is why I am what I am. This is why I think and feel the way I do, and the way I act the way I do. And it's a story that I think I needed to tell eventually, because if you guys are ever going to get to know who I am, I think it is necessary that you know what I believe in and what I think. If you guys, again, if you're watching this all the way through just to hear my story, I applaud you guys. Even if you don't agree with the views I have, that's okay. It's true for me, and it happened to me. And again, I don't expect you guys to take what I say and just believe it all instantly. In the case of religion, I always want to say, people, do your research. Don't just blindly believe in things that you don't understand. Understand what you're believing in, and then everything's different. And I'll put that way. So, the day that I met, alright, well, let me just start back in elementary school. So, way back in elementary school, my parents had me in Sunday school every Sunday. I learned all about the Bible and the stories of the Bible, the whole shebang. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the furnace. I think I'm going to mess up a couple details here and there. They went into a fiery furnace, and an angel came down and protected them from, because they believed that they would be okay. David and Goliath, of course, the biggest story of prevailing good that I don't think it's ever been told, really. I learned these stories growing up, and there's a difference between hearing stories and, seeing where they happened. And, I heard all these stories growing up, and, to a kid, it's almost like fairy tales. You don't really think too heavily about what you're being taught. You just sort of, believe it and listen to it. So, middle school, my doubts began. I've been raised in a Christian family, and I knew Christian morals, but I did not understand a lot of things about the faith. And I did not understand a lot of things that, to me, made the faith almost seem implausible. So in 7th grade, the way the curriculum worked in my the middle school, I call it the evolution year. That's the year where they tried to teach you generic space science about Big Bang Theory. They were teaching us about evolution, monkeys to people, that kind of jazz. But the thing that made no sense to me was some of it made sense. Some of the weak arguments they had about natural selection and those principles actually made sense to me. And to this day, I do believe weakly in natural selection, but not to die out an entire race. I believe, if you have 2 animals fighting for resources on an island, the better animal will survive, and the other one will die off because it doesn't get food. That's just generic. But I don't believe it contributes to evolution the way that Darwin did. But yeah. So 7th grade, I was going through my life. I started kind of tunneling into a hole almost. I'll get into another story, another special, another milestone about my scarring middle school experience, but I was not really a popular kid in middle school. In fact, I was known as the goody two-shoes because I was such a nice person. I never really understood why either. So, middle school, I was bullied a lot, and I really started to go into a hole. I kind of saw a lot of negative in the world, and I began to get very introverted, and I shrunk into a shell I never really came out of, and just now I'm finally coming out of it, especially in the case of live streaming and stuff like that. I'm finally coming out of the shell. So, 7th grade, I was susceptible to a lot of things, and I began to believe a lot of the junk they were teaching us in school. But they never really give any truth behind they say things, but they never really explain why they're true. So they're pushing evolution on us, but we don't know anything about it. So after like a week of just night after night of just me not understanding, I just laid down in bed, back at home, way back in my old videos, my bed. I laid down in bed, and I stared at the ceiling, and I said, if there is a God out there, let him show me the answers to this world, and let me realize if he's really here. I thought the prayer when I'd answer that night. So I went to bed, you know, usual night of sleep, right? But at 3 o'clock, something woke me up. It was around 3 o'clock in the morning. There was a light on my room, and I didn't know where it was coming from. I was looking around. I had it was called an air garden. It was like a little plant garden thing with a little artificial light on my bedside on a table. I thought that's what turned on. So I got out of bed, sleepily, I looked at it, and I realized it was off. And I went over to check the light to my room, because I was like in La La Land, and the light to my room was off. But the room was bright, and I had no idea what was going on. And then I turned around and looked up at the ceiling, and I started crying. Because there was a circle of gold light on the ceiling. And it was just, like, I'm already tearing up. It was so beautiful. Like, picture the goldest color you could possibly imagine. Like, if the sun's gold, put that up in the ceiling. To me, it was like a moving canvas of light. And I saw Jesus. I saw his face up on the ceiling, looking at me. And he was smiling, and his hair was rippling in the wind. His hair scruff around here was rippling in the wind. And I saw a wheat field behind him. He was standing in a field of wheat, and the wheat was swaying in a breeze that was just calmly moving. I couldn't understand. I was just like, I had no words. In the warmth, I felt like, if you guys know what it feels like when it's hot outside, but your body's cold, and it's like warming up in your body's like it just loves the heat. Picture that, but you didn't sweat. It wasn't like, it was just heavenly, like, light. It just, I can't even explain it. I can't put words to it. It was probably the most amazing thing I'd ever experienced in my entire life. And I actually laid back down on the bed, and I stared up into the face for about 10 minutes. And I started asking some questions, just generic questions out loud. A couple of them were, I just asked a couple of things like, are you going to be here for me, God? And that day, he answered my questions, and he said yes. So I've gone through life since a different person. I've had some ups and downs, I do know I have, but I'll tell you guys that there is a first heaven and a second heaven. That first heaven is the wonders of this world untouched by man. It is like the most beautiful things of this earth. Golden sunsets, fields of crops just swaying in the wind. It's the beauty of earth before man messed it up. That's what the first heaven really is. And it's the heaven that we're able to perceive because it's what we see here, but without us messing it up. I mean, it's just... And then there's a God up there that's watching over us all, and sometimes I can't explain what his reasoning is for things, but suddenly I've been a lot more confident in myself, and I know that all I have to do is believe that his will will be done, and I can change anything about myself. And I've had one more thing that happened recently that I'm actually, I want to mention this too, because I think this is divine interference as well. I wanted to take physics this first semester of college. I thought it would be good to know. But the class filled up before I could get in, and I was disappointed. I was like, darn, I really wanted to get into that class. Psychology opened up. Like, it just out of the blue. Right when I noticed physics closed, psychology opened up, and I enrolled in it. And the man who's teaching that class, I think God wanted me to meet him. I think my problems in middle school, my issues, my shell, my inability to get out of my inner doubt, I think this man holds the key. I think he's the guy that God sent to help fix this problem. He's the one who's going to teach me how to get into my right head and how to really be a heavenly person, just a person who just bleeds just positive energy. there's no reason to be negative. This world is just a beautiful world, right? God's given us so much stuff here on this earth to just, I mean, this isn't our home, but this is a beautiful world, and it's, I just see positive everywhere now. If it's hot outside, it doesn't matter to me. It feels good, you know? I mean, and I feel that belief is what governs my mentality on YouTube. I mean, sure, I'm silly with Ish, and I sometimes make silly jokes like he's dumb and stuff, but it's just out of silly fun, and we don't mean it to each other at all. I mean, and I don't curse, I don't do these things because they're negative things. They're not positive things that I want to do. It's really interesting, and it's really hard to explain. But the last thing that I want to kind of touch on a bit is, there was a movie back in a couple years ago I saw called Heaven is for Real. The movie didn't really touch very heavily on what heaven was. It was just kind of the sun kind of showing that there is a heaven up there, that we're all getting in there someday. But the picture that they showed in that movie, the painting that girl drew, that is Jesus. That is him. That's as close as I've seen to what I saw on that ceiling that day. That's the closest I've seen to him. It's beautiful. It's just a beautiful painting. And I last thing, I went online, I read the story of that painting. This girl grew up in an atheist house, and her parents never really tolerated her talking about the Bible. And they didn't know where it came from, because she had never seen a Bible until the age of 8. And out of the blue, she just out of the blue, she was having God dreams, and her life was changed. And she woke up one day and she just wanted to paint what these visions were showing her. And she painted Jesus. And I think at the age of either 10 or 12, she painted this picture. This is what I generically remember his face looking like. And I'll flash the picture over the screen now, but yeah, it's, I mean, once again, guys, I don't want you to only take my word for it, but I do want you to see that what he's done in me, and someday I'll explain the story of why I make Minecraft game maps, why I love being in groups of people, why I love playing in groups of people's games and fun stuff. I'll make another video on that sometime in the future, but it's tragic. It's the reasoning. You guys wouldn't even begin to imagine the reasons why I do the stuff I do in Minecraft. So, yeah, guys. Well, thank you for sticking around this long. Yeah, I mean, again, if you guys don't believe, that's okay. But I want you to see the kind of person I am. I want you to see what he's done for me. And I don't want you to just, look at me and be like, I was just a YouTuber. I want to be in the group of YouTubers who changes YouTube back to what it used to be. Back to a positive site, which is just entertainment. Back to a site people are proud of, not annoyed about. So, I don't know where YouTube is going to take me, and I don't know where my life is going to take me. I do plan on doing YouTube for the next 4 years, and I don't have any doubts that I really think this can happen. I really believe that I could potentially be a YouTuber. And I'm not ruling out the possibility as I go through college. I'm going to get my degrees anyway, but I'm going to keep uploading videos all throughout college. And I promise you guys, me you see here is going to stay. My personality is not changing again. I'm trying to get a little more socially acceptable, but my personality is not changing again. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching. And again, thank you guys for 25,000 subscribers. That's an amazing number. It's such a big number. And I can't thank you guys enough for the opportunity that you've given me so far with YouTube and everything. So, thank you guys. I'll see you guys in the next video, which will hopefully be a gameplay this time. So, yeah, thank you guys, and I'll see you guys next time.